Planet of the Fakes. Race card players. The Black Secret Society founded to defend white supremacy and frustrate black freedom. Over the course of our history as black people, as Africans, we have had to deal with lots of huddles, trials, attacks, betrayals, and backstabbing. And while much of this has come from the Caucasian race, and other pale races, a good number of our injuries have been inflicted by our own. Now we understand that it might be a hard pill to swallow for many black people, but the truth remains that we have had our brethren betray us, over economic gains, and a place under the table of white supremacy, a place for dogs. Back home, in the motherland, Africa, we have stooges, and puppets in power, black men and women who represent and protect the business interest of their European and white American masters. But we are not going to talk about that today. Today, we are trying to reveal the practices of a group of black men and women, mainly in America, who will do anything to stop the progress of the black community, based on the directives of their Caucasian masters, for a few slices of the cake. They are a black Greek secret society called the Boule, and can be pronounced as Boule. They were formed from the secret society called Skulls and Bones, which was founded at Yale University in 1832. The secret society was originally founded by a doctor named Henry McKee Minton, together with 5 other black men. They were Durs Eugene T. Henson, Edwin Clarence Howard, Algernon Brashear Jackson, Robert Jones Abele, and Richard John Warwick. And all of these men were from Philadelphia. These men were referred to as the Talented Tenth, by Webb Dubois, who was among the black men who founded the New York City chapter of the Boule. The name Webb Dubois is not a new name to any student and follower of African American history. He was one of those who were vocal about black rights in America. But he was not being open about his motives. He was the major weapon used against Marcus Garvey in his campaign for a united Africa. The white supremacists of America, in 1918, saw the over 1 million followership Marcus Garvey had. They systematically deployed Webb Dubois to dismantle his movement. In a speech, Webb Dubois clearly stated that the major ambition of Boule was to steal the black professionals from the ranks of Marcus Garvey. Now, this means that the secret society was created, founded to work against the economic, political, social and mental welfare of Africans, both back home and in America. And to do that, they had to do their best to persuade the black professionals who followed the African emancipation message of Garvey to stop following him. His affirmation to the goal of Boule points annoyingly to the fact that some of our brightest elites in the black community are used against the people, and most times, they are not ashamed to speak so boldly of their intentions, or the job which they have been sent to do. To fully understand the impact of what Marcus Garvey was doing for Africans, home and abroad, this article of ours details his achievements and how his dream for a better Africa was cut short. Dubois was the strongest opponent of Garvey, and he, Dubois, had the full backing of the white supremacist cooperations and secret societies who didn't want to see Africa free. Garvey's plan was to convince and take as much Africans from the Americas, North and South America, and build new and buoyant resettlement in the African nation of Liberia. He had economic, social, and political plans for this African returnee to influence change and lead Africa into prosperity, away from the evils of slavery and colonialism. The new nation was to produce and control its own rubber crops, since rubber was a major cash crop at that era. But rubber was just one of the natural resources that the new nation would use in building wealth for itself and her neighbors. In a statement, Garvey said the following: "If the oil of Africa is good for Rockefeller's interest, iron is good for Carnegie Trust, the Oppenheimers raping and stripping Africa of her natural resources of gold, silver, diamonds, then these minerals are good for us. Why should we allow Wall Street and the capitalist group of America and other countries exploit our country when they refuse to give us a fair chance in the countries of our adoption? Why should not Africa give to the world its black Rockefeller, Rothschild, and Henry Ford?" Quote. By the above statement, is clear that Garvey was fighting for the innate rights of black people, and for Dubois and the Boule to fight him and his followers is a direct attack on African freedom and liberty, on behalf of their Caucasian masters. If Garvey had succeeded, it then means that many of the foreign companies mining Africa's resources in Africa today would not have been here. If he achieved his aim, he would have cut off the financial arm of white supremacy at its point of birth. In a public attack on Marcus Garvey, Dubois and Alain Locke called him a gorilla and a little, fat black man, ugly with a big head. Alain Locke aggressively said that, "We hope the white man delivers because we crushed a great black thing, but we know he'll deliver or our people will attack in place. Egg US forevermore." Now, Alain Locke was the first black man to receive a scholarship from Cecil Rhodes, and so he had to be loyal to his white masters. Cecil Rhodes was the man who killed over 1 million Southern Africans and set up a diamond mining company in Southern Africa. Read this article for details of how he murdered millions of African people. Today, there are over 5,000 black members and 112 chapters of the Boole Secret Society, all over the United States, and the West Indies. This group is said to be among the wealthiest group of black people on earth. The meaning of the word Boole helps us in fully defining these group of black men and women as sellouts, cutthroats, and the worst type of dogs steady seeking gratification from white supremacy. Boole is a Greek word which means advisor of the king. Now, who do you think that king is? That king is the Cecil Rhodes, Lord Rothschild Secret Society, and Rockefeller Foundation, which they are sworn to protect. So basically, the Boole do the bidding of these above-mentioned cooperations which has stolen Africa dry and have maintained their evil grasp on the resources and destiny of African economies and politics. One other aspect of the Boole ideology which is most annoying is the fact that they preach that the Greek were the founders of civilization, when in truth and facts, that it was the Greeks who traveled to Kemet, ancient Nubia, Egypt, to study under the guidance of the black scientists and teachers of Kemet. Every mathematician, philosopher or scientists from Greece had their roots in Africa. But we have our brothers preaching the Caucasian man's lies just because of what he stands to gain at the foot of the feeding table. The present-day Boole behavior in the black community. Now, ever since the days of Garvey and Du Bois, we have seen how rich, popular and influential black men and women have been used to fight and cripple the agitations for equal rights, legacy, and reputation of their fellow black men and women. Jesse Jackson was the major blackface used against Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan by Bill Clinton. It was not a hidden fight. After Farrakhan traveled to Africa to meet with African presidents and leaders, the cooperations and white supremacists' American government could not have him spreading his ideologies to the people in Africa, so they sent Jesse Jackson almost immediately to Africa to distract the African leaders from what Farrakhan had to say. And while Jesse Jackson was at it, the America White House placed calls to African leaders and threatened them, saying that, if you receive Farrakhan, the U.S. government will not look highly upon you. Now you can imagine such desperation to scuttle and destroy the mission of Farrakhan. It was for African freedom and emancipation, and the masters of the Boole would not have it. Although many of our people hold great sentimental attachments to him, we believe that Obama is a member of Boole. We say this because of his role in eliminating and dismantling any hopes Africa ever had of uniting behind one currency and one goal. He killed Gaddafi and planted chaos in Libya. If we recall, Gaddafi before his death was pushing for a United States of Africa, which would be backed by a gold currency. Now, that was a direct threat to the Rothschild Bank, which owns the financial system of the world, and they would not have it. If Obama was not Boole, why would he support the downfall of Africa when he has African blood? Think about it. Oprah Winfrey was used in destroying the legacy of Michael Jackson, even after his death. She of all people should know the importance of Michael Jackson's image and legacy to the black community, but she took sides with her masters and dealt a huge blow to his legacy and name. Many have also fingered Jay-Z to be a Boole Mason, who was used by white supremacists to damage the agitation and campaign of Colin Kaepernick, who has been at war with the NFL for some years now. Many of our people would actually disagree with this, but we owe it our people to call these things out, and then allow them to decide who has been on the side of the people and who has sold the people out. The list is actually a long one, but we would not go further since we might not finish this article. Just like we have the Boole today, we also have accounts of black people which belong to the KKK. No matter how absurd these things sound, we have seen a black man openly betray their people in the interest of white supremacy.